I am not good at this stuff, so forgive me. I want to thank the Moose and all the friends and family for their generosity and assistance, and everyone for coming today to celebrate Patrick. The two white roses on the table arrangements represent deep love and the single yellow rose friendship, both of which we had very solidly. The mason jars are relevant both because he was a mason, but also because we had a moonshine fountain at our wedding instead of a traditional champagne fountain. We always liked to color slightly outside of the lines and shared a rich sense of humor. I wanted to share something I wrote, followed by the Masonic ceremony, and then there will be an opportunity for those that wish to speak to do so, and then we'll have the military honors following that. As you've already seen, I'm a terrible public speaker, but this is going to be hard to get through. My sweet Patrick, little did I know when I answered your ad, looking for a biker chick that can pull off leathers in a bikini, and met you in May 2008, it would be the best day of my life. Second only to May 2015, when we were married. We were like peas and carrots pretty much from day one. You were a class act in so many ways, albeit a bit of a redneck in some ways as well. But I was so very proud to be your wife. I won the lottery when I met you, baby, evidenced by all the people here today and many others that couldn't attend. Many may not have known you well, but you touched every single person you met with your easy way and infectious spirit. You were funny and silly and smart and carefree and strong, and you were my person. You never nagged me or complained and would always try to lift me up, often surprising me with flowers when I was sad. You would regularly hug me and kiss my cheek and tell me you loved me more than anything else in this world. And how could we possibly be without each other? We were so perfect together. Never in my worst nightmares did I imagine the day I took you to the hospital that they couldn't figure it out and fix you. You were never even sick. Our world has been shattered into tiny little sharp pieces that I know impossibly have to try to walk through every day. March 11, 2023 was the worst day of my life. While I'm thankful for having you and a great, fun, and full life for 15 years, I'm hateful that the universe chose to snatch you and our life away. We've been robbed of all the more to come and all the plans and happiness in our future. I will never understand or forgive who decided this fate for you and for us. If I had to choose what I couldn't lose, there would only be one thing, and that was you. I will forever be empty without you. I only hope that you will stay close, and your bright light, heartfelt smile, and spirit will be with me for the rest of my days, until we meet again.
The last offices paid to the living, paid to the dead, are useful lessons for the living. From them we are to derive instruction, and to consider every solemnity of this kind as a summons to plan for our own dissolution. notwithstanding the daily warnings of mortality with which we daily meet, notwithstanding that death has established his empire over all the works of nature, yet through some unaccountable infatuation, we put from our thoughts that we are born to die. We lay down design after design, add hope to hope, and plan out for many years to come. The employments of many years are then suddenly interrupted by the alarming approach of death, when we least expect him, and at an hour where we have probably decided that it is the meridian of our existence. Let the present situation excite our most serious thoughts and strengthen our resolutions of amendment. As life is uncertain and every earthly pursuit is in vain, let us no longer postpone the consideration of the all-important concerns of eternity, but while time and opportunity permit, seek to prepare for our own great change. Let us, while in the state of existence, support with propriety the character of our profession, advert to the nature of our solemn ties, and pursue with assiduity the sacred tenets of our order. Above all, let us seek the favor of the eternal God, whose goodness and power know no bounds, and at whose bar of infinite mercy and justice we must soon appear. May we be true and faithful. May we live in love and die in peace. May we always act and profess what is good, and always act according to those professions. May the Lord bless us and prosper us. May all our intentions be crowned with success. Glory be to God in the highest, on earth peace and goodwill toward men.
Now and henceforth and forever. Amen.
This lambskin or white leather apron is an emblem of innocence and the time-honored badge of a free and accepted Mason, more ancient than the golden fleece or Roman eagle, more honorable than the star and garter when worthily worn. This emblem I now deposit with the spirit of our deceased friend and brother. By it we are reminded that through the universal dominion of death, our brother has ended his earthly labors, and his account now rests with his God. The glove is an emblem of innocence and a token of friendship. Even though death has destroyed and severed our social ties with our friend and brother, let us remember that it has not impaired or weakened our obligations to the living. The evergreen is an emblem of Masonic faith in the immortality of the soul, or that better part of man, which neither cross, pain, accident, sickness, nor death itself can destroy, but which will continue to bloom in eternal verdure through an ever beginning to a never-ending eternity. With me, brethren, grand honors. His spirit to God, his memory in our hearts, his body to the earth. His spirit to God, his memory in our hearts, his body to the earth. His spirit to God, his memory in our hearts, his body to the earth. In conformity with an ancient and honored custom of free and accepted Masons, we have assembled here to offer to the memory of our deceased friend and brother the final tribute of our affection, thereby demonstrating the sincerity of our past esteem and our steadfast attachments to the principles of our order. May we who survive him anticipate our approaching fate and be more strongly united in the ties of friendship and union, that during the space allotted our present existence, we may wisely and usefully employ our time, and that through reciprocal intercourse of acts of kindness and friendliness, we may better support each other's happiness and welfare. Unto his Maker, we resign our friend and brother, there to remain until the general resurrection. And we pray, Almighty God, of his infinite goodness, to comfort those whose hearts have been afflicted by this, who have been stricken by this affliction, and to extend his saving mercy to us all, and that when the work of our lives have ended, that our hopes will ripen into the fruition of an everlasting bliss. To whom? And we beg this for the honor of his holy name, to whom be all glory, now and forever. So mote it be. Amen.
Almighty and eternal God, in whom we live and move, have our being, and before whom all men must appear in the judgment day to give an account of the deeds in life. We who are daily exposed to the flying shafts of death and now surround the spirit of our deceased brother, most earnestly beseech thee to grant us thy divine assistance to redeem our misspent time, and in the discharge of the duties of life to give us wisdom from on high to direct us. Strength commensurate with our task to support us, the beauty of holiness to adorn and render all our performances acceptable in thy sight, and when our work is done and our bodies mingle with the Mother Earth, may our souls, disengaged from their cumbrous dust, flourish and bloom in eternal day, and through thine infinite mercy enjoy rest made perfect in our home above, eternal in the heavens.
Into thy hands in keeping, O Lord, we commit our brother and ourselves. May we receive light to guide us, courage to support us, and love to unite us, now and forevermore. So mote it be. Amen.
At this time, we'd like friends and family of Patrick to come up and just say a couple nice things or some experiences or stories about Patrick. And come up anytime you'd like.
Wow, where to begin? Patrick was the greatest big brother one could ask for. From my first memories of growing up with a big brother who could fix or attempt to fix anything that I tore up, to taking me on hunting excursions in the timber or going mudding down an old dirt road, he was always up for a good time. When he left home for the Navy, in the days before cell phones and email, we became the best pen pals, exchanging letters often. He would tell me about all his wild, crazy adventures from around the world, and I would let him know what was going on back at home. However, his stories were always better than mine. I always looked forward to his trips home on leave. However, they were never long enough to do half the shit we wanted to do. I think we were all happy when he got stationed back in the United States in DC. And as we grew older, we had a lot in common, from riding motorcycles to boating, so we always had a lot to talk about. We shared some great rides together, trips to Sturgis, the Tail of the Dragon, and the Harley 105th anniversary party. And boating, so many great memories on the Potomac, as well as in Ocean City. A couple I'll never forget are the day when Pat and I got our poor little brother Aaron drunk on Black Velvet Potomac water, or the day we were crushing it in Ocean City with Pat and Jim. The last few years, my boys would refer to him as the fun uncle. When he was back, they were able to talk him into doing all kinds of stuff, from riding tractors to jumping in bounce houses or working on four-wheelers. Just so many great memories over the years, but what I wouldn't give for just a few more. Until we meet again, brother.
for giving me the opportunity to say a few things. I can't summarize a 35-year friendship in just a few minutes. But we met in California, and if you look at the scrolling marquee up there, there's a black Camaro. It was 81 Z28. And that car cemented our relationship for the next 35 years. That is where we met, that's where we connected. I can't describe how I feel the relationship with him. He was genuinely one of the nicest persons I've ever had a chance to know. Could tell a bunch of funny stories, but I'm going to tell one because Cisco, the reference to Cisco, if anybody's ever drank Cisco, it's like the big brother of Wild Irish Rose. Well, apparently we were in California, we were only supposed to drink a bottle between 4 of us. Well, apparently we misunderstood, we each drank a bottle. They don't make it anymore, it's illegal. It's like liquid crack, I'm pretty sure. I'll never forget, Patrick got so shit-faced on that stuff, but we were at a bar in San Francisco, every single one of us was underage, and he got sick, and he just rolled his head around and projectile. Needless to say, we got thrown out, we had to get out of Dodge pretty quick. But over the course of the years, you know, there was a lot of that. Not quite like that, but there was a lot of good times, a lot of rides. Like Jared said, you know, we did tons and tons of stuff together. The folks that are here, he impacted the same way, right? So for that, you know, I wouldn't trade that back for anything. Last quick story. He had his Corvette was over at in another different building. Jennifer and I had to go get it. Couldn't get it started. Couldn't figure out how to pop the hood on a C4 Corvette. Jen finally, after 45 minutes, was the one that found the lever. Then we couldn't get it to jump because the battery was dead. So on and so forth. We couldn't even figure out how to open the goddamn garage door. We got it all figured out. We drove the car home. So we're sitting in the living room a little later that evening, and Jen turns and looks at me and she says, "Hey, do you think that was him messing with us?" That's not exactly how she put it. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Not only was he messing with us, but he was up there laughing like hell." But we figured it out. That was the last big test. So, you know, for those of you that knew him well, you know where I'm coming from and what I mean. I'm going to miss him dearly, and I know that goes for a lot of other people here. There was just too many experiences and good times that we had to go back on. And he loved life, and so should we. And with that, I'm done. Appreciate everybody.
I wasn't planning to come up and talk, but everybody has a good story to tell about Patrick, I think. I'm a neighbor of Patrick and Jen for, I don't know, 13, 14, 15 years, I guess. More famously known as their pet sitter. We started early on, you know, they moved into the neighborhood, and Patrick comes bopping up my driveway one day because I had just received a shipment of firewood. And I just thought it was funny, his name was Wood, and asking about wood. So I was like, okay, I'll never forget that day. And that was just the beginning of a great friendship. I mean, I didn't hang out with him a lot, so he wouldn't have seen me hanging out in Ocean City or wherever, but I was there on Manateo Court, and I was there for them anytime they needed me, and they were there anytime I needed them. And we both needed each other quite a bit. And the funniest story I have about Patrick involves a jackhammer, believe it or not. I needed some concrete dug out so I could install a sump pump, and my dad and I went and rented a jackhammer, and we thought we could do that, and we could barely lift it, much less use it. So I had called Patrick to ask if he had a phone number for anybody that might know how to use a jackhammer. And I had someone in mind, and he gave me the phone number, and he said, "What you doing?" So his father and his uncle were in town that weekend, and they all came over, and Patrick said, "Wow, cool, a jackhammer. I've always wanted to try a jackhammer." Perfect situation. I was like, "Here, give it a shot." He made a perfect circle about this big in the concrete to fit the sump pump tub, and it was like 90 degrees outside. And I went and got a fan, was trying to blow on him, and he was going at it. He loved it. And I tried to pay him, and he would never accept money. And then just he would put hitches on my vehicle for me, or take it off, or switch something out, and I mostly remember his lower half of his body sticking out from under one of my cars. So, but like I said to Jen before, it's not about what he did for me, and it's not about what he did for all of you. It was really who he was. Just a really kind, thoughtful, loving person. He would just pop in my driveway sometimes with a gift that he'd come across, and Jen, they'd be out and see something that they thought I would like, and they would bring it by. And the week before he passed, I'm so thankful he came by and brought me a little painting that he found in a friend's house. It had some cats on it and a lady, and of course the crazy cat lady on the block, so it was very fitting. But he was just thoughtful like that. And I miss him a lot too. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him again one day. Yeah. That's all.
How you doing? My name's Elliot. My wife Brandy, and I've known Jen and Pat for a little bit more than 10 years. We met, again, sometimes people touch each other in small ways. I look around the room, and definitely there's normal people that Patrick knew, and then there was us. I only got a portion, a small, very small portion of Patrick's life. Every time we got together, it was in passing, or we got together for dinners or riding bikes. Patrick was always happy, always had a smile on his face. I never saw him angry, never saw him mad. I just enjoyed life. And the fact that he touched everyone in this room in a different way is amazing. And we all touch each other in certain ways. Sometimes we don't know it. But I was thankful for the time that I got to spend with Pat, even though it was short. But he was a very bright man that had nothing bad to say about anyone. And we had a certain love for certain things, but the one thing that we both loved was motorboating my wife.
say I'm going to miss Pat. I am a neighbor. I don't live on your court, but I got to know Pat because I was an early morning walker with my dog Bree, and so was Pat. And he started off with just Binky and Cricket, and my dog Bree loved Binky and Cricket, and that's how we got to know each other. From that point on, every time Pat would see me or French, he would always wave. No matter where he was going, if he was going to work, taking the dogs to the park, or just out walking in the morning. He always brightened my day, and he would always brighten Bree's day as well, because she knew when she saw him coming around the corner that we were going to stop. And not only were Pat and I going to be able to, share a few thoughts, but she would get to socialize with Binky and Cricket. So they were my family. I'm going to miss him always waving at us. And the other thing that I've missed since my dog has since passed is that he would always continue to stop to say hi and let me speak to the dogs. Now he has two more. You had two more that I've gotten to know, Scarlett and Elby, which I am so thankful for as well. But I just want to say he's going to be missed. And I know it's a tough thing, but we're here for you. And I guess that's it, but he was a very loving and kind individual, and I'm going to miss seeing that gray car go down the street and his arms not sticking out the window and waving at me no matter what time of day it was, or him letting the dogs off the leash just to come and greet me because he knew how much I loved his dogs. So thank you.
Like you guys, we are touched by Patrick and Jen in so many different ways, but we come from a whole community you guys might not know, and that's from walking dogs at the local park. Every day we'd meet at 4 o'clock and walk the dogs. And he had the craziest dogs. I mean, Scarlett, he used to call her an extreme snowboarder because she was just absolute lunatic. But we've spent, from walking dogs, it's got to be thousands of hours spent just walking and talking with Jen and Patrick. This was like what we did every day. We'd meet at 4, and they were always there. They were just such wonderful companions. You guys have no idea. Well, obviously you do. But one of the things you realize about Patrick is he's so different from most people. The guy was always quick to laugh, slow to anger. As a matter of fact, I don't ever think I've seen him angry. Anytime he asked for my help, I felt like it was an honor. I felt privileged to be able to do something for him. Because he just rarely ever asked for anything. It was always what he could do for you. He's just one of those friends, that everything he did was always for somebody else. It's like just times together, just so many funny memories. And I see a whole family of people that we don't know. And I imagine you feel the same way with us. He had a whole separate family of people that involved just his day-to-day, walking the dogs, just everything. It's like not being able to see him when I just always we'd see the car, we'd say, oh, but Jen and Patrick are here. It was always just a bright part of our day. So we'd always meet up, and it's just, I can't tell you how much he's going to be missed. I just can't tell you. He's not the one that was supposed to go. He was the one that was in the best shape out of all of us. I'm like, it's like it was just shocking. And Jen, anything you ever need, we'll be there for you. We love you guys, we love the dogs, and he will be missed.
So Jen, I couldn't let today go by without getting up and just sharing a few words. I think I just learned something new, and we have a lot more in common, I guess. But I answered an ad, and that's how I met Rick as well. I was trying to think on the way driving here. I can't even, of course I have a little brain fog, but I don't remember exactly how we met or where exactly it was, but I know it had to have something to do with motorcycles or something, but, Rick and Patrick, my husband, were very much alike. It's no wonder that they became good friends. Both MacGyvers, both could fix just about anything, would give you the shirt off their back. I have one story, I don't know if it's really funny, but it kind of told me or showed me that Patrick is really the kind of friend that you really want to have. That particular night, I realized that no matter what Patrick is, that kind of guy and the kind of person that we want to be friends with and have in our life. We were at a bar, and there was a lot going on, and somebody picked a fight with my husband, Rick, and it looked like it was gonna go south, maybe be a 2-on-1 kind of thing. And in a blink of an eye, Patrick was up and he had Rick's back. And I mean, from there it was kind of like every which way but loose. But that my takeaway from that was that this guy has your back. He always has your back. I hope that Rick has his back now, and he was a great friend. We maybe didn't get to spend quite as much time together as we would have liked, but I remember probably every single time that we were together. And I remember that the last time I saw Patrick was exactly 32 days from the time that he passed, and he is going to be dearly missed. I love you guys.
Hello, everybody. My name is Carlos Allen, and I'm here with my wife, Karen Brooks, and we're neighbors of Patrick and Jen. And it seems like the common denominator we hear constantly with Patrick is that he's such a nice guy. And it's a shock to my system when I found out that this such nice person that I've known for so many years has passed away. And it's a sad situation because every single day, this person would always say hello to me. He would always want to talk to me. He always want to try to help in any situation that I've had when I was outside. And when you see such a person who's such vibrant with his wife, who I could see that he loved her so much, where it touched me so much to hear her say that she won the lottery. That's amazing. And it's bringing tears to my eyes right now because even though we weren't best of friends, he was just a kind person. And when you have someone like that, you gotta make sure that you grab a hold of that person and you tell that person how much you care for that person because you don't know when that person's gonna be gone. And when I heard that he passed away, you gotta look at yourself and you gotta say, you know what? You gotta enjoy your life to the fullest. Because if Patrick was enjoying his life to the fullest, this man had every single toy you can think of. You know what I mean? I used to think, God, man, you got a boat, you got a truck, you got a Harley, you had everything, and to find out that you're gone, it is so sad. And Jen, I pray for you, and I pray that you're able to continue on, because again, your lottery was here. And he's going to still stay in your heart, all right? God bless.
Hello. My name is Heather Jackson, and I worked with Patrick. We have a big group of folks over here that came from work, and it's lovely hearing all of your stories about Patrick. He meant a lot to our team. He was definitely more than a colleague to us. He was definitely a friend. Some of our colleagues, some of our friends over here talk about him as though he was a brother. I don't have a lot of stories about Patrick to share, but I guess what I would share with each of you is, as I listen to each of you talk about him and his life and his friendship, what he meant to you, and how selfless he was, we recently celebrated his 25th year of service to our nation, right? So he is a very selfless guy. He put his money where his mouth was, right? He believed in freedom. He wanted to express those freedoms, and he lived a full life. And he did that also in service to his nation through his service in the Navy, and then following that with his civilian service at our organization, the Center for Army Analysis. We're a lot of introverted folks. I'm not sure if others will get up to talk about Patrick, but even in what he chose to do after he left the Navy, he chose a service job. He was in our IT team, and he was the linchpin in our IT team. And we feel his loss acutely every day since he left us. He was in my office just on Thursday. You know, he teleworked Friday. I pushed him hard. I asked him lots of questions, and I know sometimes those were hard for him to do the research and to get me the answers that I needed, but I could always count on Patrick to do an exceptional job. I could always count on Patrick to get the job done, and he was very loyal to his team, and he stood up for them every day. And so I would share with my team over here that you were valued by him, and he tried to protect you from spending time on things he thought wasn't important. And he tried to invest the time that he thought was necessary in the things that he thought was important. And I see that in this entire room and in all of the stories that you have shared. Jen, I know that you've lost your best friend. And knowing what a loyal and true friend he was to everybody at our workplace and to everyone in this room, I know what a huge loss that is, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you for having this today, and thank you for letting us be part of it. I miss Patrick a lot. I miss him every day at work. I miss him, certain phrases that he used to turn. I hear somebody else say it, and I immediately think of Patrick. And I think that will never stop. So I'm happy to be here with you today and to share a little bit about what he meant to me and what he meant to our organization, because he has left a huge hole. I don't know that anybody will fill it.
How y'all doing? I'm Spidey. Some of y'all know already, some of y'all don't. Patrick, I mean, just like everybody said, Patrick was a great guy. He's done things for me that I could get nobody even to look at. He's worked on my bike. He's researched it just to do the work on my bike. Of course, he took money for my work. I would have no other way that I paid for anything like that. But he would just be, I mean, if you asked him a question, he knew the answer. And if you didn't know that answer, next time you looked at him, he had the answer for you. And he came out and told you. I mean, I met Patrick and Jen, I think it was at a party at George's house. I was in a hot tub. Calm down back there. I'm thinking this, all right? Just let me say what I'm saying. But, I mean, he's always been nice to me, and apparently I amused him very much because His brothers knew about me, and their wives, they knew me by name. I don't know why, because I've never met them until today. So I don't know what was all about that, but they say it was all good, but I doubt it. I want to say just one thing I remember with Patrick. When they had that house down North Murray, was it Little River? Whatever, Cherry Ave. I was over there, and I think I forget who I was with. We were over there on bikes. Maybe it might have been Doucette. But we were going to go eat sushi. So Patrick and Jay get on this little tiny scooter, and he has that thing gas as fast as he can. And I'm riding beside him on my bike, and I'm just looking at him. And he reminded me of that lady on The Wizard of Oz, riding that bicycle. And I mean, he had that thing floored. It was so hilarious. I was laughing the whole time. But I loved him. And I mean, not many people I've met on motorcycles actually say, I really love that dude. He had the best heart in the world. And I'm gonna miss him a lot. I love you, Jen. And like everybody says, if you need me, let me know. I'm there. Thank you.
My name is Frank Clary, and I don't often wear this jacket. It's a little more snug on me now. But Patrick was my shipmate. He and I were both on the Forrestal we served. I didn't know him then. He didn't know me. It's a big ship. There's about 5,500 people on those carriers. But Patrick was I only met him a couple years ago. I deeply regret that I did not spend more time with him. He was a great, honest, generous guy. Always answered any calls or any requests for assistance I might have given him. He served on the Forrestal. Our mission in 1991 was to protect the Kurds that were being attacked relentlessly by the Saddam Hussein government. We were flying missions there, and Patrick and all of my shipmates like him kept our planes going, our boats going, in order for us to complete our mission. I'll regret that I didn't spend more time with Patrick. I was able to put an old beat-up Corvette on his lap, which was good for me. I don't know if it worked out for Jen, but anyways, I'm not a Corvette guy. But in the Navy, we pipe someone ashore when they go, and I'll try the bosun's call. Hopefully the Navy guys will do it better than I will, but here goes. It's the Side Boys seeing our shipmate off. So farewell, fair winds, and following seas, Patrick. Jen, if you need anything, give us a call anytime.
I didn't get approval for my stories, so I'll keep them brief. So my name's Kelsey, and I met Jen and Patrick probably at the same party Spidey was referring to. I'm not going into more details. Jen had just got a tattoo here, and I was in the hot tub, and there was a gentleman in the hot tub beside me, and Jen was sitting on the edge, and we all just became friends. We bonded. Patrick and I are both from Iowa, and we had an instant connection, which I think Patrick and Jen had with a lot of people because they were just wonderful. So fast forward a few years later, and we were in Myrtle Beach for their wedding. And the night before the wedding, we decided to have a little miniature bachelor party and went to a wholesome nightclub in Myrtle Beach. And we had a room that was just for our party. And despite anything of the adventures that happened in that room, I have a picture of how that night played, and it's of Brian and Patrick in the corner, just in their own little bubble, looking at their phones, oblivious to anything else that was going on at this upstanding club. And they were looking at cars and motorcycles and giddy as all get out. And it was actually very cute. It was a lot of fun. So the next, maybe a couple of nights later, a couple of nights before, we had been out riding all day and probably not drinking water, and it was getting late, and it was just time. People probably didn't need to be in the hot tub anymore because it was bedtime. So somehow Patrick's shorts for the pool, after he got out of the hot tub, the shorts went like over a fence or somewhere because nobody else was going to be in the hot tub anymore. And Patrick goes inside. And a few minutes later, he comes running out and he said, "Good thing I packed my wedding Speedo." And back in the hot tub, and there was a lot of laughing. So Patrick's going to be missed. Patrick and Jen were definitely peas in a pod, peas and carrots, all of the above, and there's no words. Thank you.
Well, I met Patrick and Jen through Kelsey. I remember the first time, I think it was a Funny Money concert or something like that, and we were going to. And Kelsey says, "Hey, we're going to meet my friends, Jen and Patrick." She goes, "Jen probably won't like you off the bat, but Patrick is really, you'll like him. You'll like him." So we go and, hanging out with this guy I didn't know, and somehow we got on the topic of boats, and then he goes, yeah, I'm working on the outdrive of my, Bravo 2 or 3 or whatever, and I'm like, oh, yeah, we started talking about boats, and we're fixing outdrives, and over the years, we didn't really hang out a lot. I wish I would have hung out with him more because we had a lot in common as far as being gearheads, always working on something. But that's what we always talked about, was like a car or a bike or a boat or fixing something. I remember one time I saw online somebody was selling all these engine parts. And I was like, man, that would be cool to buy all these. This guy's selling all these high-dollar engine parts. So I get a text message from Patrick saying, "Hey," and he sent me a picture. "I just bought all these engine parts from this guy." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I saw that." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm building my engine in my Corvette, the LT1. I said, "Okay, cool." So we kind of talked back and forth. And I was just looking at my old text messages of this. And he was asking, we talked about it. I think he sent the engine out to have it worked on and somehow put it in. And then he's asking me, "Hey, what do you need to do to run the car at the track? What do you need to bring?" I said, "Well, you probably need a helmet and this and that." And, "Well, what kind of helmet?" So we talked back and forth, and I probably didn't talk to him for a little bit. So I'm at the track one day with my car, and there I see Patrick and Jen. They're at the track. We're like, "Hey," So he goes, "Yeah, I got all the engine built and this and that, and I'm going to see how fast it goes and whatever." And so we're hanging out next to each other in the pits. Jen took a picture of us together with our cars. We're all proud. And so I'm sitting there in the staging lanes, and it's taking forever to race. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because, so finally somebody walks by and they said, "Some dude in a red Corvette just broke his axle right on the starting line." And it was Patrick. As soon as the light turned green, he hit it, and never, So I had talked to him a couple times after. He's like, "Yeah, I'm never going to the track again. Screw that." But Yeah, he goes, they put too much, they sprayed it was too sticky. As soon as I dropped the clutch, that was it. So, yeah. But, yeah, that really sucked. But, yeah, I wish we would have hung out more. I wish I could have gotten to know him better, you know. Over the years, Patrick and Jen would always come to a lot of our shows that we would play. Every year at Bike Week, I put some pictures, and I had several over the years. I'd just snap of the crowd outside at Bike Week, and now there's Patrick, you know, giving everybody the finger. And, but I know his favorite song that we played was Jukebox Hero, and there's many times where we would have a show, and I knew they were coming, and that song would come up, and I'd tell them, oh, skip this song. Let's play this later, you know, because I knew they were coming. I was trying to hold it for him, so he played it when he was there. And for the rest of my life, and every time I play it and every time I hear it, that song will remind me of Patrick, and that's what I'll remember forever from him. And he was just a good dude who I enjoyed connecting with every time we talked. And it's probably the same with a lot of you. You connected with him because you felt like you were a good friend of his. Don't matter how long you didn't see him, but every time you did see him, it was, hey, you know, it was like you saw him yesterday. So, but that's what I'll remember for him forever.
Since we're telling Corvette stories, I got one that never been told, except to Brian 2 weeks ago. Never told anybody about this vet story. Patrick had called me about 5 years ago. He's buying a vet, excited as hell. Found a perfect one, what he wanted. Jen's all in, as much as Jen could be all in. And he needed help. We're going up to New Jersey to pick up this vet. So I said, okay, I'm in. So we drove up real early loaded a trailer up at his house. Drove all the way up to New Jersey, and it was picture perfect. It was what he wanted. It was his dream. I heard it all the way up, the whole trip up, and it was what he wanted. Jen will love it. Jen will love it. Jen will love it. So we got there, and he's going over the car. He's finding little things here, little things there, and the guy wanted $8,500 for it. And it was worth it. But Patrick said, I'm going to get him down. I can do better than that. So Patrick started needling him and telling him, look, the door needs to be painted. It's got this over here, and it's got this over here. So I kind of walked away because Patrick was working his magic. He was going to beat him down. And was going over, getting the straps ready because I knew Patrick was going to buy it. And they wheeled and dealed, and they got everything figured out. So we loaded the vet up, and we're going on down the road. And I said, so Patrick, how'd you do? He looked at me and says, don't ever tell Jen. I paid $8,500 for it. And he told her he paid $62. But anyway, everybody knows now, Jen.
Hello, I'm Scott. Let's see, I've known Patrick for 4 or 5 years now. the way I met Patrick is we used to ride motorcycles all the time. We'd be invited to their house all the time. Just a great guy, knew a lot of shit about a lot of shit. But the funniest story, well, I have two actually. The first time I ever pissed on my girlfriend was with Patrick and Jen. Let me explain. We were on the boat, we were invited out. We went to Bird Island. I've never motorboated, but anyhow. So we get out there, and we're in there, we got the dogs, we're out there playing, we're on the beach. We're all standing in the water, next thing I know is my girlfriend goes, ow! Stung by a jellyfish. So the whole logic was, she comes up to me, now mind you, I've known her for 2 weeks. She comes up to me, she goes, you gotta pee on my leg. I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. So long story short is, I peed on her leg in front of our friends. But the funniest story I have about Patrick is, now mind you, we're in South Carolina, so we do bike week, we do this. We go to Archie's all the time, which is a big biker bar. Always, Thursday night is bike night. So we all go there, we show off our bikes, rev, come in nice and loud. Next thing I know, I hear this, ween, ween, ween. It's Jen and Patrick pulling in on his scooter. Yeah, now mind you, nobody's ever seen Patrick's scooter before, it probably has more horsepower than my motorcycle. Because he's modified it and all that stuff. But that, long story short, is that's my funniest moment. Now mind you, we've got Hell's Angels, Tarnished Souls, biker gangs at this location. And he comes in, he was always a conformist, but he comes in squealing that bike. Meem, 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 meem. I was like, that is the baddest ass guy I've ever known. But we're gonna miss you, brother.
We're going to take a little break, and then we'll resume and do the military honors shortly. Oh, wait. Hold up. That was a very short break.
If anybody else would like to say something, come on up before we do the military honors. going to do the military honors in just a few minutes. So we'll just take a little break.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the United States Navy, we're here to render honors to a fallen shipmate. Thank you for rising. Good. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Wait a minute.
Hey, we appreciate everybody. And we're going to take a little bit of break here. Let's everybody kind of relax, have a, we're here to celebrate Patrick, is what we're here for. This is what Patrick would want, is to have you guys to have a good time. Let's have a drink. Let's have a drink for Patrick, and we're going to celebrate him this evening, and that's what we're all here for. Let's get a drink. Let's get something to eat. We're going to come up and play some music in just a little bit. Everybody hang out, and we're here for the rest of the evening to have a good time, to support Jen, and we'll see y'all in just a few minutes. Play a little bit of rock and roll for you.